Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to Cherry and Timber.
Good, very good.
Yeah, I think as you can see from the dark circle from my eyes and Yogesh's eyes, we've not been sleeping very well for the last few weeks.
I need to change the
I
eye
can't
cream,
complain of that.
Mahesh is in the best time zone out of all of
I
us.
can't complain of not having sleep because of the match.
You can see.
Kutti can have idli, vada, sambar and then sit down to watch the match.
Sit down to watch the match.
A filter coffee also,
Yeah.
Yeah, मतलब Mahesh के लिए it's perfect. You can see Australia games, you can see England games, you can see everything.
Yeah. India's got only West Indies gives us a problem, right? Because it starts a little late in the.
Yeah.
But that also is pretty okay. At least till lunchtime, so you can watch comfortably, and then probably if you want to stay awake on day.
Even West Indies Netflix generation will not find very difficult to watch.
All right, guys, we are joined by Mani sir, Mr. TV Subramanian sir. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Perfect, sir. Lovely to have you here. And for people who don't know him, I'll just do a very, very quick introduction. He's an absolute cricket guru, a cricket fanatic, a very, very keen follower of the game. And, he's been around in Delhi cricket circles for a long, long, long time. And he's the honorary secretary of the Pelicans Cricket Club. Am I right, sir? As of now?
You're right.
Can you hear us? All right. Perfect. And he has held many, many posts in the cricketing arena, and he retired as a deputy general manager in sports in the Airports Authority of India. And then he's also done a lot of interviews for Doordarshan. He's been a coach, player, and he loves mentoring young people, and people who follow him, get so much expert advice on the game, and it's lovely to have you here, sir.
Wonderful.
Can you hear us? All right. So I think there is a bit of a connection lag here. Okay, sir. There's a bit of a lag, sir, but yeah, I think we'll roll on with it. Maybe I'll just allow you to just do a brief, summary of what you have seen in the first test match, as well as what you have seen in day one here at Chennai.
Well, the first test was, it was one of those things. We had a very slow weekend. The first 2 days, the batting was easier for batting.
Yep. I think we are losing you in between, sir. There's a bit of a connection lag or an issue with the connection. Okay, probably he's frozen and he dropped out. So maybe let's continue with Yogesh. Yogesh, what's your analysis of day one from what you saw?
I was
when
thinking
Sir joins in, we'll get it back.
If they got a little bit of India cement in there, on first couple of days. But Indian team was also saying there was nothing happening on first 2 days. But I think a whole lot of credit to England for the way they batted on those first two crucial days. And I think, last week we did speak about it, that it is one thing to win the toss, but to also convert that into a great advantage is not the easiest things. You're coming into a big series. It's day one. It's still slightly different conditions from what you're used to. So I think they did really well to bat the way they did. Obviously, Joe Root helped a lot. His double hundred was really the difference. But I think there was something else that got spoken a lot in that match in terms of the timing of England's declaration and whether they were too slow or too cautious or something like that. But there were quite a few interesting things that came out of it, I felt.
Yep.
And one of the things I felt was like, look, I think it was vindicated the way they were batting because you have faster bowlers and all of these guys need a little bit of rest, and there was so much time remaining in the game.
Yeah.
Yes, we got you, sir. Yep, you're back. All right, we're just continuing, so we'll come back to you in a minute.
So I was thinking that they had enough time remaining, and it was crucial that they gave their bowlers the right amount of time because it's one thing to go on for, let's say, 4 sessions and quite another to go on for 5 in that hot, humid condition. And they also wanted to have enough runs on the board so that they could attack from the word go. Because look, you give the opposition 4 sessions, for instance, to play, and then you've given them, let's say, 360 odd runs, and then you're putting your own bowlers under pressure by declaring. Who would want to do that? And not at the least in the first test match and things like that. So I felt it was a perfectly valid stand from England to go with the pace they were going, and kind of leave just about right number of overs for the bowlers to continuously attack and shut India from the possibility of winning totally. And I think we saw that when India started batting, it only took 1 or 2 wickets, and then the cookie started crumbling, right? So I think
I think one really good point which you made, Yogesh, there is how underrated is the heat and humidity of Chennai, right? So I think that is something which not all of us took into account. And I think Mani sir, you will be, privy to this because you know how hot it is in Chennai, right? So so how underrated is that element when it came to the declaration in the last test?
See, the humidity is such a factor. People from the northern India, where we see temperatures of 45 degrees. When we come to the south, I used to bring my team to a place called Kumbakonam. And struggle. They play in the dry heat of 45 degrees. But the humidity really saps your energy.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that probably could have contributed to Jofra Arthur's health issue as well, right? Because obviously he would not have been conditioned to bowl in these kind of in this kind of a weather. So
it truly saps you. It's yes, Mani sir, if you want to.
No, I said even best on the last day was struggling, bowling 3 full tosses in.
Correct.
Chennai weather, terrible, very terrible.
Absolutely. So, what do you make out, sir, of day one from what you saw today? Do you think the pitch is, I won't say slightly different, obviously it is different, but do you think the game will last the whole distance, 5 days, or do you think this could be a shortened game because of what we saw?
It could be 4 days. It could be over in 4 days. Because this is the type of wicket where there is some turn and bounce also. Now, in such a wicket, someone has to do something extraordinary. You have to play positively. And if you remember, I think when England won in 2011-12, the second test in, I think, Bombay, got close to some 400 or something, and we started an extraordinary innings with Peterson and Cook. And they got a lead of about 80 or something. I think that's a very tough thing. It doesn't happen daily.
I think that was a once in a generation innings, right? So from both of them, it was like we don't see such innings every day. Go ahead, sir. You're saying something.
You can't. And even India chasing 380 in Chennai.
Correct.
I said even India chasing 380 Chennai, 15 years, 14.
So
that also India would also not be chasing such big scores. That's the only time you must have done it.
Agreed. Absolutely. Interesting. So coming to Mahesh, right? What do you make of what you saw by Rohit Sharma? I think that's something which you always expect out of him, and I think he truly showed his class, right? And I think one really big factor, which we all also spoke our minds out on social media, is the way he swept the ball, and I think that was a big difference, right? In the way how he was different than the other Indian batsmen and how he could tackle spin, and I think that was truly remarkable.
The sweep, if you watch carefully, he used to sweep from outside the off stump.
Correct.
It was not on the ball that was on the stumps. So from there he was sweeping, and seeing that even I think Ajinkya Rahane also started sweeping. The advantage of doing that was that they wouldn't get LBW because they would make sure that their leg is outside the off stump.
The line of
so they negated that very well. But like what I read your Facebook message. It said that it's a great shot to play in these conditions. I agree. It's a very good shot to possess because most Indians don't play the sweep. Tendulkar never played the sweep that much. Virat Kohli just refuses to play the sweep. Most of the players just tap the ball. Okay. Whereas the full proper sweep, Indians for some reason avoid. Because again, I read another post of yours. It says that domestic umpires start giving batsmen out when it hits the pad, which is so correct, But that was put to rest beautifully by Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane, that they started sweeping. But like what I said, it's a high risk shot on these conditions. And today it looked like a 4-day pitch to me. It did not look like a first-day pitch to me. And to play the sweep on a 4-day pitch, you need to be you need to be really lucky also that the ball just doesn't bounce and it takes your edge or something. But they managed it well, and finally both of them perished playing the sweep shot. So it was good that they perished much later and not much earlier.
Yep, I think we lost TV, sir. But anyways, he'll join back. Some connection issues today from Delhi. But I think, I agree, Mahesh. And I think that point which I made about domestic umpires is something which, we have all faced the wrath of.
We've all gone through it.
Yeah, we've all seen that when we play club cricket, right? The moment you try to play either, a pull shot or a sweep shot, and if you get stuck on the pads, this just generally just goes up without any hesitation.
I always get a feeling that these domestic umpires behave like coaches. They don't like to see anybody playing cross-batted shots.
Love that.
Yeah, I agree. And the only explanation which you'll get, why you were out is across khela.
Across khela.
I mean, I was like, boss, I was outside the line or the ball pitched outside leg stump. That
doesn't matter.
All right, Annie, fantastic to see your comment. Great to have you joining us. And lovely to have you here. We'll try and get you back on the show sometime soon. We really want you to talk about India, England for sure.
I think now that Annie's here and she's all ears. I think it's probably a good time to talk about England's bowling reserves. And the richest of bowling reserves, I'd say, to have a man who's taken 600 wickets replaced by a man who's taken 500 wickets must take something. Then, you have somebody like Jofra Archer going, and then you've got somebody who steams in at 140 plus in the first over. That's
mighty impressed.
Brilliant.
Yeah, mighty impressed by Ollie Stone. And I think, me and Manish sir were having a chat yesterday, and he called it right. And again, his cricketing acumen here, right? He called for Ollie Stone's inclusion. He said that he could be an X factor, and that's what happened, right, sir?
Very first over.
Yeah, he was really quick, hitting 145.
Yeah.
And I think, with just like India had those bowling reserves when we went to Australia, England also seems to have that depth in bowling and the bench strength, right? And I know Annie is a huge proponent of the county cricket and the contribution county cricket makes to make this battalion of, really good bowlers coming in and being ready whenever they're given an opportunity too.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Cool. So, Mani sir, what do you see happening on day 2? What's your prediction like? After seeing the pitch behave the way it did, and also after seeing India post 300, do you think that what should be an ideal target here for India for the first innings? Is it 400, 450? Given that we have still four wickets left and Rishabh Pant batting, so do you expect them to go all guns blazing right from the first session, or do you feel that they will play out the first session and then start attacking from tee? Did we lose him again? Oops.
Yeah, I think it's that.
I think we'd be really lucky if Indian team is able to take this to the second session batting.
Oh yeah, I think we did lose him, and I think Oh, okay, he's joined from the mobile. Sir, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I've now come on my mobile.
Oh, okay, this is better. I think at least we could see you talking now. Yeah, perfect, sir. So so I was asking, sir, what should be India's game plan? I mean, given the way we know that how Rishabh Pant bats, and do you think he'll go all guns blazing from the first session itself, or do you think they'll wait till tea and then accelerate the scoring?
I think have they taken the new ball?
Yeah.
They did.
Taken the new ball.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, couple of overs, 2-3 overs.
I think realistically, England must be thinking that they have to get rid of the 4 wickets by 50 runs. And if they get it under 350, then they stand some chance. If India goes to 400, it's really curtains for them.
Could be game over.
It has to be less than 350. It has to be less than 350.
Especially on this wicket. Yeah, absolutely agree.
Because I think in this wicket, 350 itself is a good score. It seems a very good score. Unless India bowled too badly. We have the attack. We have Akshar Patel, who's basically a bowler who's lucky to make a debut on such a wicket. Now, this is, I think this is the fortune of the game.
God send.
Absolutely.
Akshar is the type of Jadeja, and he won't give runs also. So whatever runs England will have to take only from Kuldeep Yadav, who could bowl loose balls, but he could take wickets. So I look at it this way: 350. England will be hard pressed to get 250. And if it's 400 plus, if they bowl badly, India goes 400, so match khatam hi ho gaya, ek tarah se.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we have Bhash in the comments. Mahesh, I'll probably put this to you. Do you guys feel Root missed a trick by not bowling broad when he was just getting into nice bowling rhythm and the ball was reversing a bit and made Rohit Sharma and Rahane uncomfortable? And I think he also has another follow-up question. Do captains tend to make a mistake by under-bowling their best bowler just because of the pitch conditions? That's a great question.
See, I think the first session, the ball started turning, so he must have been tempted to give a lot of bowling to Leach. Okay, that's why he himself also came and bowled quite a bit.
Correct.
But the fact of the matter is, yes, I would agree with Bhash. I think they should have, once the ball starts reversing, you have bowlers like Anderson and Broad who can exploit it to the fullest. And Indians, we saw last time around what Anderson did in that 1 over, bowled some 2 brilliant deliveries and just finished the game for India there and there. So he should have given Broad a couple of overs. You don't know the physical condition of Broad. Broad himself might have been a little reluctant to bowl because of the heat out there, right? I mean, I can understand it was only the first day and all that. But these Englishmen who've come in may find it difficult with the weather conditions. But I think he should have bowled at least a couple of overs and seen if he could have got rid of Rohit Sharma then. It would have been a very interesting passage of play for England. But once that was over, because I did not think that Rohit Sharma was 100% confident even playing the spinners. I mean, he was taking a lot of risk. He was not allowed. He was dancing down the wicket, not allowing the ball to turn. Those things worked. Some days it works, some days it won't. When it does not work, we all start pulling our hair because that's the way Rohit Sharma plays. Rishabh Pant was the same category, right? He played the reverse sweep. Now you play a reverse sweep on that wicket, you need to be a bold man. But he did it because that's the way he plays.
Either bold or crazy, Mahesh.
When it comes off, everybody stands up and applauds. But had he got out, there would have been a lot of people really getting after his back. So these guys play cricket that way. Now, certain days it will work, some days it won't. You need to accept it and go on. But I think I'll agree with Bhash. I think this guy Broad should have bowled a couple of overs at least to try and see if he could get the reverse swinging.
And I think one interesting point, Mahesh, which you brought out is the way Rohit even played the spinners. Even I agree, he wasn't extremely comfortable against Leach, and the way I saw him bat in the first session, especially, right? He was kind of making the same, I won't say mistake, but he was using the same technique of keeping his pad away from the line of the ball and, kind of exposing his stump the way he got out in Chennai, right, in the first test match. I don't know if it's, and again, this is a big topic for debate, Yogesh. I don't know if it's DRS because of the way the batsmen are playing spinners nowadays, because, they're keeping their pad away from the line of the ball. Because now we have seen that, immediately when the ball hits a pad, there is a chance for a review. And, and even if you're well forward, even if you're down the track, they tend to get out.
Yeah. But I think one thing which he seems to have done well, and I think a lot of commentators, when I was watching in the second session, were saying, oh, this is getting easier for the batsman and things like that, and India should press on and get a big one. I was like, hold on, it doesn't actually appear like that. And it seemed that Rohit Sharma was probably playing a very different game to what everybody else was managing to play. And he probably knew that you are always 50-50 on this wicket, You start playing defensively and you could go the Pujara way, that there will always be a one good one that will come and have your name on it. So then what's the other way you can play, which is, try and see whenever you can score runs, you try and score them. And I think even after getting 150 and the shot that he played when he got out, right, he'd hit there was a boundary hit in the over, there were a few dots, a single, and then he went for the shot. It basically told you that today probably his game plan was, whenever he was going to get an opportunity to, he was going to go for the runs, because if you don't, and if India were stuck, let's say for 250 for 6, this game would have been a lot more even than what it seems right now. So I feel, I think there will be times when you will probably play a slightly different game, but I think looking at the conditions, he probably played it well, because otherwise he could have as well got out for 70 or 75.
Interesting. Mani sir, I mean, one question, obviously, with regards to Virat Kohli, and we have seen this now happening slightly more, frequently with off spinners. And, this happened in Chennai as well in the first innings, wherein, he could not reach the pitch of the ball and he was playing away from the body, and, it took the bat and went to short leg. This time he was trying to play an extravagant drive outside off stump, but obviously it was the beauty of a delivery from Moeen Ali. For sure, that's the ideal off-spinner's dismissal, right? Make him play in the offside and, get through the gate. So do you think that there is a case for him to kind of, look to kind of charge down the track more often than what he's doing nowadays? Because I have not seen him really do that in Test cricket of late. He's generally playing from the crease. Is there something that you would, you would notice with Virat Kohli?
See, by nature, Virat is an aggressive player. And I think today when India came out to bat, they knew they are going to have the best of the conditions. So they had a very positive intent right from the word go, although they lost a wicket in the first over. Rohit was also trying to play positively. I think they are trying to continue in that way. And as you say, it was a typical off-spinner's delight. You induce a batsman to make the cover drive, it spins back. I think it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things he got out. It's nothing. I don't think there's any need for change of technique or anything. He's okay. It is just one of those things. On a given day, you get out to it. Like today, if you, I was saying the first session, I think Rohit Sharma had a close call, isn't it? In the slips,
that's right.
The ball fell short of the slipper. I mean, you need that type of luck on a given day. Perhaps Virat didn't have it today. Perhaps he didn't have it. It happens. Of course, sometimes the bowler does something which the batsman knows. That's why this game is so beautiful.
I've got a slightly different point then. For instance, if you're getting out into that trap a bit more, for instance, right? Do you think it might help to play a slightly different way, for instance, right? Letting the ball come to you and then playing with the angle. And I think later in the day, they actually showed a very good comparison. The same ball, how Kohli played and how Rohit Sharma played. So Rohit essentially deployed a sweep to that kind of a ball. And I think what we are basically trying to come to is versatility. You'll have slightly different conditions. So different conditions might require slightly different responses. Let's say if this was the Bangalore pitch, the same ball, right, may not have turned quite as much, and Virat would have been able to play through that line and would have been able to get that couple of runs, or maybe thread that gap for a boundary or something. But on a Chennai track wherein you've actually seen the balls turning so much, would you still try and do the same shot, or can you not play with the turn going to the ball? And I think it was just the first sixth or something ball that he was facing, that instead of trying to play an expansive shot, you just try and adjust to the pace and the turn of the pitch, and try and absorb as many balls as you can until your body starts feeling a lot more comfortable with how the pitch and the conditions are reacting. Just another thought, really.
Mani sir?
See, I think basically techniques. I mean, a batsman makes an assessment about his weakness and strengths if he gets out too frequently. I'm sure there are so many analysts these days, coach. In olden times, we didn't have that. Maybe next innings he will be more careful. He could. I mean, being such a great player, I know he will come out with a solution to the. He's too good a player to do the same thing again.
Absolutely. Yeah, that we agree. Absolutely. Yes, Bhash has a point. I'm worried for Pant the keeper than Pant the batsman tomorrow on this pitch. Your thoughts when folks made keeping look ridiculously easy on the pitch? Yes, I think, interesting comment, Bhash. I think probably only time will tell what happens here. But I think, we've been on this debate before whether Pant should be playing as a keeper batsman or as a pure batsman. But then again, it all boils on to balance of the team. We all understand that, yes, he's not as good as a Saha. But the point is, do we have any choice left? When we play Saha, we need to play 4 bowlers. If we play Pant, we can play 5 bowlers, right? So, I agree. Your point is valid, Bhash. But unfortunately, we have to go with what it is, right? We can't make changes in the middle of a game.
Venu, I just picked up what he said, that Bain folks made keeping look so easy. And I think, there was a technical reason to it, that he doesn't go crouch quite as low as, let's say, some of the Indian keepers do. Now, on the pitch, when the ball is bouncing, it's advantageous to actually work from that middle position, which I think, comes naturally to him. Where he might struggle, for instance, is when the ball starts keeping low, because then you have to go from mid to low, and then when an odd ball bounces up, then you have to sort of react in a different way. Now, on this pitch, when the ball's consistently been sort of bouncing higher, we've not found that challenge with Folks' keeping as such. With Pant and some of the Indian keepers, right, they start from a lower position because against spinners they expect the ball to stay low, and only on day 4 and 5 pitch, wherein when the ball starts doing funny things, is when the keeping technique may get challenged a bit. But probably that's the reason. If the pitch stays low, Folks might struggle as well.
And I think that's where our yesteryear keepers like Mongia and even Saha for now as well, right? They are so good, because they could cover both the aspects of the ball keeping low or even bouncing ridiculously high, right? So that was exactly. So I think that's the key, right? When do you actually crouch and get up, or how do you move with the bounce of the ball, right? That's obviously I'm not a keeping expert here, but from what I saw in Australia as well, when Pant dropped those catches, and I think Gilchrist was or Gilly was on air, and he did mention a few technical changes and obviously some glitches that he had with his fingers pointing towards the ball and going with hard hands instead of pointing down and going with softer hands. So I think that's something which he could work on definitely, for sure.
On this point,
yes, sir.
On this point, on the keeping point, Folks is considered the best keeper in England.
Absolutely.
He's considered the best keeper in England. In fact, he got 100 in Sri Lanka on debut. But England is playing Butler. England is playing Butler. So what is countries like England and Australia, if you see over a period of time in the past, they always pick the specialist keeper.
Correct.
They do.
India is not a great, country for, producing the topmost keepers. If you see over a period of time, even in the past. And generally, we always look at, a keeper being a good batsman. It has always been there. On Rishabh Pant's point, that he can play as a specialist batsman. I personally feel for 1 year, he needs to improve his batting, his technique. He has got some flaws. I feel if he's going to play just as a specialist batsman, he may get under pressure. Maybe after another year, like Sangakkara, if you remember Sangakkara, I think for a couple of years or something, he was the keeper. And then when he developed his batting, he became a specialist batsman.
Yes.
So it is my view that I think he should, because he's getting runs. One or two, even if you look at Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he was not the greatest keeper when he came on the scene.
Yes.
He improved over a period of time. So I think we need to give him some chance. If he doesn't show improvement there, but improves his batting technically, there are some technical flaws in his batting. If he's improved, then he himself may have the confidence to play as a specialist batsman.
Correct.
That's my view.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, sir, because, obviously if you're putting him in as a specialist batsman, that's a different kind of pressure altogether. Then it's like, you expect him to score runs every time that he bats, right? Right now, it's like, sometimes you could still agree that, he's still a keeper batsman. So he might get a 20 or a 30, that's acceptable, right? But then as a batsman, you expect him to score big hundreds or say even, 70s or 80s every time he walks in. So that's a different kind of pressure altogether. Interesting, you brought out that point, sir, about Sangakkara. And I think I don't have the numbers right now, but we'll probably get it for a next show. There's a big contrast in his batting average when he was playing as a keeper batsman versus a non-keeper batsman, as a specialist batsman. So I think that was a very big difference, and that also goes to show that how hard a job it is to keep wickets and to play as a batsman as well.
And to play as a batsman.
So I mean, hats off to guys like Gilchrist and even Sangakkara in his early days, right? So to do both the jobs and do it really well in both departments, and I think, and even Dhoni for that matter, being a captain, keeper, and batsman, right? So, yeah.
If you want to get a sense of how hard this must be, try and squat 500, and then the next day try and score 100 after going through 500 squats,
So I mean, I do keep wickets occasionally when I play club cricket, and I say occasionally with the with the most seriousness because I'm not a regular keeper. But then I did it a couple of seasons back, and I did it for 40 overs on a trot, bowling first. And after that, we had to bat as well. And the day I came home, after that, for the next 2 days, I could not feel my legs. That's how hard it is. It's like, I mean, if I'm sitting, then I'm sitting. If I'm standing, I'm standing. I could not do both together, right? It's like.
Also, interestingly, I think, just on Pant then, he looks slightly chubby, but he's an extremely strong boy. And I think, some of the, like when we talk of physical fitness and you look at somebody like Virat, but Pant's fitness is very different from Virat's fitness. And you would, if you've seen some videos that Pant had posted, I think during IPL, I think, and he's immensely flexible in his body, so I think that's really advantageous because muscles are then tuned slightly differently, and then the things that he can do as a wicketkeeper and then as a batsman will be slightly different from what, let's say, just a batsman who has got batting fitness do.
Absolutely, I agree. Yep. So again, coming back to Mahesh, what's your assessment on the changes that India have done in this game with regards to bowling? How do you see that coming through?
Siraj coming in, I think now we are also adopting the English way. Resting bowlers, giving them, rotating them. Could be because we're playing too much of cricket any which way. Then we don't want to injure somebody like Jasprit Bumrah. Because, and so Mohammad Siraj, he bowled well in Australia, so it's no harm in giving him another chance. Kuldeep Yadav's inclusion was very interesting, and he's going to bowl on a wicket that's going to really assist him. And in these conditions, he can be really a handful because he can turn the ball both ways. The Englishmen may not have played enough of Kuldeep Yadav, so they wouldn't know what to expect from him. And he's always been a white ball bowler for most part of his career. Right? He doesn't bowl too much in Test cricket, so it's going to be very interesting. But to me, Ashwin is going to be the trump card. I mean, make no mistake about it because it's his home ground. He knows where to bowl. He's a very smart cricketer. And today, look at somebody like Joe Root. He was able to get uneven bounce. There was space in his bowling. The main person I would worry in the English team would be Ben Stokes because he, like Pant, can take the game away very quickly. See, if you try and defend and expect to stay on the wicket for 3 sessions, that's not going to happen. Because what Yogesh rightly said, one ball has your name on it. And it could be the first ball that you face, or the 5th ball you face, or the 50th ball you face. So while you're there, make use of every scoring opportunity. That's exactly what Rohit Sharma did. And that's why India scored 300 runs. If he had played a sedate innings, probably would have scored 100. India would have been maybe about 220, 240. At 240 for 6, India was not going anywhere. I mean, the match would have been, like what Yogesh rightly said, it would have been almost even Stevens. But now, to me, it is advantage India. 300 is a damn good score on this wicket on the first day. If England have to score anything in excess of 250 on the final day, they're going to have a big problem in their hands.
Final day, day 3, you mean?
Whatever, the last game of
the match. Yeah, I think great point, Mahesh, about Ben Stokes. And Mani sir, I think I agree with Mahesh because, what Peterson did in Mumbai in 2012, is exactly what even Ben Stokes can do, right? Unorthodox shots, playing the sweep, the reverse sweep, charging down the pitch and, playing that aggressive knock. And that kind of puts off the bowlers, right? So I think we need that kind of a fight from them.
Because this is one wicket where the batsman has to play aggressively to succeed. You will need a bit of luck. I remember, I think long time ago, 1983-84, India versus West Indies in Ahmedabad, a minefield of a pitch. Jeffrey Duzon played a brilliant innings, absolutely brilliant. So you need to take your chances. I mean, in this pitch, you cannot say that just putting bat and pad together, you will give one to the short leg or the slip. You have to hit through. And in this England team, I think, of course, he's not here, you can't talk of him. They could even miss Butler, who's a good player of spin bowling.
Agreed.
For all you know, folks may go and get 100, but they will certainly miss, an unorthodox player like Butler.
Butler, for sure.
It's not an easy target because the other boys are all new. To the Cribleys and the other guys, they will struggle. It has to be only Root and this man, Ben Stokes. They are I think the key to their batting.
You know what I want to see tomorrow. So one way Rohit Sharma was trying to get out of the jail today was by sweeping, and that's the go-to shot for Joe Root as well, and Ben Stokes as well. I want to see if Ashwin and all the spinners actually plug that square field on both sides of the wicket, and to say, okay, we will take your sweeping option out, or you won't get so much cash for those shots. You won't get it for sweep. You won't get it for reverse sweep. Now, do you have it in you to hit through cover or through mid wicket or through long on and long off? Long on and long off. I think Rohit Sharma was able to do two things well today. Apart from sweeping, he was also able to hit straight and get it over the field. That's not going to be so easy against Ashwin, and when he's spinning it away, or when Kuldeep is trying to get it into Joe Root, etc. So you plug the square fields or the fine fields, and then try and open it out in front and see how well they can play in front.
I think that's a great point, because that's something which Joe Root really did well in Chennai in the first test, right? Because he was so strong square of the wicket, and because the ball wasn't turning on, like Mani sir said, on day 1 and day 2, it was so easy to sweep and even hit across the line of the ball. But here, there'll be more doubts in the mind, and plus, if you encourage him to come down the track, there's much more possibility of getting him out, rather than him staying and just sweeping all the time. That's a great point, and I think even Bhash has this point about Pujara. So I think I'll probably take it again back to Mani sir from a technical standpoint. Is his method against spinner the right way to play in India? We saw what he did in Australia for sure. Yes, wickets were different, but do we feel, does he pad a bit too much and invariably plays with soft hands, which may not necessarily work on these pitches with so many close-in fielders? Or do you feel he should play more with the bat?
I think on this type of wickets, you have to play with the bat. Try to be a little positive. You have to try to be positive. It can on a slow turner you can grind, but this is a wicket which has got more spite, a bit of more bounce. So you can't be just defending. You have to play some strokes. Yes. Mindset has to be a little bit more aggressive.
I agree. Yep. Absolutely. Good.
Also, I think padding up is okay when the lines are negative, isn't it? As a as a defensive option, when you're really trying to just keep the bowlers away, it's fine. But when the bowlers are attacking and getting into stumps, then to pad up in the era of DRS is a risky strategy.
High risk.
I agree. I mean, somehow, guys, I'm feeling a bit nostalgic today on this show, and so much of discussion that we're doing around these innings, right? It's taking me back to the first show that we did last year with regards to the top class innings that we have seen by a foreigner played in India, and we discussed Kevin Peterson, we discussed Adam Gilchrist, we discussed Matthew Hayden, Alistair Cook, and I think another name that which is recent is Steve Smith as well. That innings in Pune in 2017, and I think like Manish sir rightly said, that you need luck to survive in those kind of pitches, and he obviously got a lot of chances there, but the way he played, that was pure class as well, right? So I think that's the approach which England should take, in my opinion, to kind of chase down whatever India scores in the first innings. So that's the only way to do it here. All right. I think we lost Yogesh there. Oh yeah, he's back. Thoughts on Rahane's DRS howler? The ICC rules declares that team can only retain a review if there's a technical glitch. Was it correct or justified for England to retain the review? Mahesh, what do you feel?
I think the third umpire should have completed the entire sequence. He had gloved it and he was out. There was no doubt about it. I think the third umpire should have said that the review that was taken away from the England team should have been given back to them, because I think he didn't last too long any which way. He got out immediately after that. He didn't make much use of it, but he was clearly out. I just couldn't make out. I mean, once it did not hit the bat, then they were only interested to see if the ball had hit the pad and was he LBW, and and immediately they said no, he is not out. But they should have continued, because Joe Root went and told the umpire that off the pad it bounced, it got the glove, and he was caught. But for some strange reason, the field umpire did not communicate to the third umpire, or what happened, I wouldn't know. But the thing was that it was a definite glitch, and I think they should give back the review to England.
Yeah, I think it doesn't harm, right, when you see that there is a mistake being made and you rectify it, right? So that's something.
The DRS is to try and minimize errors.
Yeah, and this was a clear error. Yeah,
this was a clear error. I mean, I'm not saying. I think the umpiring has been reasonably good in both the matches, and not reasonably good. Has been very good.
In fact, it's very good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's very difficult to umpire on those kind of wickets where the bat and pad is so close and so much of bounce and spin and turn. They've done a great job. Now, if it is very clear that the umpire had made an error, in this case it was the third umpire. They should have given back the review to England.
Interestingly, Mani sir is really good friends with Anil Chaudhary, so I think he knows him up close and personal, right, Mani sir?
Yeah, in fact, I got into umpiring very late in my life. I was doing more of coaching. 87, I passed the state panel umpire. I was about 33 that time, 33. Anil was a youngster. He was a good cricketer. The very next year, 1988. He passed this state panel exam. So I used to see him. He used to, very, very serious boy. From the age of 18, 19, he used to be very dedicated, come for even local matches 1 hour before, do exercise, this, that, and all. And in fact, I used to think, in his younger days, I used to tell him, you will become a Simon Tuffle, that Australian guy. But somehow it has taken time for him to, get a chance and get to that level. He is a very, very stable umpire. Very, very stable. He's very cool. I think one of those things which happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a part of the game. I mean, it's just like, Dickie Bird taking 12 people inside the ground. Didn't realize there were 12 people in the ground. So, I mean, these are the problems sometimes after having such a fine test.
Yeah, in Chennai.
Doing a mistake being a third umpire.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I think we all discussed this in the last show as well, sir, that, the standard of umpiring in the first test was phenomenal. I think it was maybe just 1 or 2 decisions that were overturned, but even those were very iffy ones. But otherwise, it was really, really good, compared to
There's a common thing between wicket keeping and umpiring, as I said earlier, that they're noticed only when they make mistakes. Otherwise, nobody notices them. The wicketkeeper drops the catch, everybody runs after his life. The same thing with the umpire. He makes one error, and then he's only remembered for that, unfortunately.
Thankless job it is.
In this incident, I'll tell you a very small incident which occurred. It was in India versus Pakistan test match, last test match at Bangalore. Where Gavaskar got 96. Where we lost by 18 runs. Now, Ram Babuji was my guru. Ram Babu Gupta and Ramaswamy were doing that game. They were doing that game. And what happened, on 56, Gavaskar was out of the glove. On 96, he was not out. On 56, Ramaswamy and Gupta ji, they had even done neutral umpiring in Pakistan. They were the first people to do it.
Yes.
So what happened was, Ramaswamy gave not out. The Pakistani fielders, aggressively shouting. He couldn't do anything. In that one particular moment, he lost his cool. He went to the square leg umpire. Now Rambabu said, you're coming for a caught behind to me. Now, if I know it is out, but what will happen? It is a very controversial thing. So he said, what do I do? can you go to the main end, the Pakistan? He said, I've already come here. You said, you tell them that the decision is not out. I went to my partner just to discuss joint action for your indiscipline. So sometimes umpires have to come to that also. These were times before all these reviews and all that. It's a very tough one. It's a very tough one.
Absolutely. Especially in our conditions, sir. I mean, where every ball is an event, right?
Now these days there are not crowds in Test cricket. Imagine in those days 1 lakh people in Calcutta. How to many bat and pad you may miss. You could miss it.
Even the Knicks you won't hear, right? Nowadays, these guys have also earpiece to hear the Knicks, right? Those days, we didn't have all this technology, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Great points. And I think that's a great story. We all acknowledge how difficult it is, to umpire. And I think, like Mahesh said, it's a thankless job. We only notice them when they make a mistake. Otherwise, it's all business as usual. All right. I think, guys, we are pretty much done for today. I think fascinating day's cricket, and I'm really looking forward to day 2 for sure. Always exciting one way or the other when Rishabh Pant is in the middle. So we can expect a lot of fire, a lot of action. So yeah, looking forward to it. Mani sir, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking out time. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wonderful talking about the game.
Absolutely, sir.
Great.
All right.
Thanks
Look forward to catching up again, sir. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Good night. Bye, guys. See you next week again. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.